get started with episode 79 of Superstar Spotlight. I want to thank the great sponsors, my great homies out there. Shout out Ian 30 as always. He makes the intros, the outros, friggin' ICW hype packages. He does it all. Hit up Ian if you want a cool little video package made. He also does Bocce Army Wrestling on the YouTubes. He's got his, I believe he has his own little gaming channel out as well. Shout out Ian for doing so much. Such a cool kid. We also got the Skittle Squad. Shout out Skittle in the Discord every week, going crazy, doing the damn thing. If this is Life Weekend 4, the King of the Yard tournament, I believe, just got announced. Be there for that. I know I'm already I'll probably be there slinging my vocal cords away in the ring. But yeah, support Skittle in every way. If they buy the flag when he drops them, because they're one time only. We also got Pookie Wrestlers outside the Canadian region. Shout out Pookie for making all these great, cool Pookie-fied wrestlers just like this one right here. I got to get that in the sticker form soon. We also got the Bocce Boys. Shout out Hammer and the crew. Once again, I got the flag behind me for a reason. The Bocce Boys are some great human beings. They got a crazy website, shirts, flags, pins, patches, all that good stuff. www.thebotcheboy.com. And last but not least, my homie Beat Up Photos. Shout out Becca doing the damn thing. Get a cool photographer to do some cool photography things. And my guest for the evening, the last episode, we had fucking Mittens on the podcast. As everyone knows, the lovable weapons maker of ICW. And this episode, I feel like I have Canada's Mittens, the most lovable weapons maker in all of Canada. If you don't know who I'm talking about Billy the Deathmatch Janitor is here in the Soup Kitchen Studios. Billy, how are you doing?
Doing fantastic. Dewey, how you doing?
I am freaking great. It's finally good to have you on. Everyone in the Canadian Deathmatch community told me to blow your phone up, get Billy on, and brother, here we are. You got so many questions, too. Headed your way. If you're ready, I'm ready to dive deep into some of these fan-submitted questions, honestly.
Ready when you are, man. Let's go do it.
Let's do this. All right. This one is always submitted to certain Canadian people here. I gotta know, and so do the fans. Billy, who's your favorite member of Canadian Deathmatch staff? And why is it Sean?
Come on now, guys. Whoever submitted that's not fair. But I mean, if I had to pick a favorite, I'm assuming, well, we'll just go with Sean because he was in the answer. I mean, but you know what? Sean is, the lifeblood of Canadian Deathmatch. He is the reason any of us are doing what we're doing. So, not necessarily favorite, but if I'm going to shed anybody, Sean. But obviously, Dylan and Maddie, I love you guys too.
Hell yeah, and funny, Sean always submits that question. We also have this one here, Billy. A fan wants to know, where'd you get your name from, and what made you start making weapons?
Well, the name was really just comes down to, anytime I had to use a fake name online or signing up for this or that, Billy was just always the name I ended up using. So when I got the opportunity to create myself a wrestling character, it just kind of came naturally. As for the weapons making, I've been a deathmatch fan for, I don't know, a decade plus now. I'm very familiar with all of the various things that get used, the things that have been tried and, never seen again, that kind of stuff. So when Canadian Deathmatch announced their first show, I reached out on Instagram and just said, hey, I've got an idea of what you might need. Do you need any help? And kind of that started the snowball, which led to me doing this.
Well, hell yeah. The hell, let's say, had you been going to shows, obviously, for 10 plus? Any of your favorite Canadian deathmatchers out there that you still are doing cool stuff for, that's kind of like the full circle moment, where it's like, oh my god, been watching them do this for this long, and I finally get to make all this stuff for them to hone the craft?
If I had to pick two, it would probably be, on our very first show, the very first Crazy 8 we did last year in March, we had a match with Jesse Amato and Green Phantom, two sort of absolute legends of Canadian Deathmatch. Not just, us, but, as a whole. So
Green Phantom is my fucking goat. I love the Green Phantom.
Yeah, so both of those guys, having them on our first show was really cool. They were people I had actually, watched a lot of, was very familiar with their work. So very first show to get to work with them was really, really neat. Other than that, a lot of the guys on our roster, have either taken a break from deathmatch for a bit or a little bit newer to it. So kind of being able to grow with them has been really fun. Everybody knows, the trust is there. I get Instagram DMs all the time with ideas and things to buy and things to acquire. So it's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, no, I'm with you too. Whenever right for a show, or if it's like, oh yeah, it's a fans bring the weapons match weekend, I will always I call this my craftsman studio because one show on a Halloween weekend, I was down here crafting a bunch of Halloween chaos and weaponry, barbed wire, skeletons, gusset plate, tombstones, thumbtack, candy apples. It was you gotta have some fun when it comes to making weapons. And we have another fan submitted question here, Billy. Your favorite match you've made weapons for?
I think if I had to pick one, it would probably be the match we had at Absinthe for our New Noise Volume 2 show between PD Skills and Jesse Amato. Both of those guys, and myself are, lifelong stoners. So, we kind of agreed that we were going to make some, basically of all the weed themed weapons. So we had an acrylic bong wrapped in barbed wire. I had a rolling tray with one with thumbtacks on the bottom and one with a gusset plate on the bottom. I bought a bunch of roach clips and they started clipping them on each other. And we also had a door, which I bought a bunch of those cheap, acrylic grinders, the 2 half,
Oh yeah.
and put them all along the door. So that was a really cool one. So that one was a lot of fun just because immediately when we kind of had the idea, I knew a bunch of things, but anything with sort of a specific stipulation is fun where you can, you've got your tried and true, implements, but then it's a Halloween show or a Christmas show or things like that, or if the match has more specific stipulations, that's always a lot of fun. But if I had to pick one, would be that, yeah.
Well, hell yeah. And as you know, Billy, we're very 420 friendly here. I got this Durban poison vape, and I gotta know now, Billy, what's your favorite strain of cannabis?
That's a difficult one. I'm a bit of an old school guy. I mean, indica sativa to me is just sort of words. High THC. There's a one here called Wedding Pie that I really like. It's usually good on the price point, but I'm more of a buy an ounce of weed and roll joints kind of guy. So
Hell yeah. You're all the above flavors get you the same amount of buzzed up, as
yeah.
they say. Hell yeah.
No, when I buy weed, it reminds me of the quote from Bender in Futurama. Sort of the when he goes up to the bar one time and says, "Give me your biggest, strongest, cheapest drink." Basically that, but with weed.
Yeah, I love that. Well, we got more. We got so many weaponry questions. I love it. You are quite one of the, I guess, weapon masters, as Neil Diamond Cutter once said to you. If I'm correct, me and him did chat about you once. He freaking loved your work, and that he was like, gotta get him on. I was like, all right, you're kid. Everyone's convincing me. And Billy, I love you so far. This has been amazing. But I also gotta know, and so do more of the fans. Do you have any special ideas for any upcoming weapons? And I see you have a few right behind you there.
Yeah, absolutely. I just had some stuff around that I'd already built or that we've used in the past. So yeah, I just thought I'd, decorate the back. But yeah, any specific ideas, I won't necessarily give anything away, but always excited for the Crazy Eight. We've got the Crazy Eight coming up on April 11th at the Germania Club in Hamilton. We can, that's a show where they kind of let us do what we want. We've built trust with the venue owners there. So, that's where it's going to be lots of tubes, lots of creativity. We're going to be looking into, maybe building some structures, doing some interesting stuff. So, yeah, won't give anything away, but I really like when we can have a ring, we can have glass, and, really get creative.
Oh, 100%. I feel like that's also the big pro and con with no ring. Because when I was helping my buddy run his no ring company, it was finding a venue to let us have some fun is the hardest part.
Absolutely. And, we've worked with some amazing venues, and basically the only thing it comes down to is certain venues for completely understandable reasons say, no glass, maybe, they advise, maybe not that. And, we totally agree with that. And,
We work around it.
Yeah, so I mean, and no ring shows, they're a little more resource intensive. I find, things like chairs will, usually, one use per chair. Things get stacked up, doors get
Oh
laid
yeah.
down, and so they're a bit more resource intensive. And obviously, you got to get creative with bumps because you can't just be doing like mid '90s Cactus Jack concrete bumps all
Yep.
the time. But yeah, so yeah, no ring shows. You can get a little more creative, but yeah, absolutely, they're two different things, and then you got to plan for them differently.
Yep, 100%. And you also talked about contraption building earlier too with the big crazy eight. I gotta know, Billy, favorite contraption you built so far. And also, I'll throw this is gonna be a two-parter. What is a contraption or a fuckery weapon that is a pain in the ass to build sometimes or to
Oh, I've
deal
got an
with?
answer for that one immediately. A pain in the ass, but you have to do it and you love it. It's barbed wire ropes. Barbed wire ropes
Oh,
is just
100%.
is it it's a lot of work. I've got a great team. I've got some people, shout out to to Jake, to Bell. They're fantastic helping me do stuff. So Bell actually, Pookie Wrestlers, same person. But yeah, anyways, if you're speaking of stickers, gonna just go ahead and show my little Billy.
Yeah! I had Pookie invade once, and it was freaking legendary.
Oh no, she's fantastic. She's been really helping me out a lot. We've been talking about the show up in Toronto. She's going to be helping me out there. So yeah, no, I had to bring the sticker out and show her and support her up there. And she's been doing some great stuff. But yeah, barbed wire ropes are a lot of work. I'm
have
trying to.
you
I'm trying to.
ever
Sorry.
have you ever built a barbed wire trampoline?
Not yet. We haven't done an outdoor show yet, and there are a couple of things that I've set aside for when we do outdoor show, if we ever do. Maybe this summer we don't have anything booked, but we'll see. But I'd love to. It seems a little bit easier just because you have the space outdoors, maybe to do it. But
You just need the people. I
yeah,
built a barbed wire trampoline with 10, and I built the barbed wire trampoline with 3. You can only imagine how they both went. I literally, both times too, I built the frame and I was like, all right, now it's all up to you guys. I did the hard part.
yeah. But I mean, the more and more you get used to it, it's better to deal with. But yeah, if I had to pick one that's a bit of a pain in the ass, but one that I would do every show if I was asked, would be barbed wire ropes. Some of my favorite stuff is really just finally being able to, after being years of fan build, just like light tube log cabins, bundles, just being able to like work with light tubes and actually like put them together. I had a show I worked for, Hybrid Championship Wrestling, where Christmas show where I did a star out of light tubes, and those are fun. I just really like working with those. But if I guess had to pick another one, I don't actually have one near me, but what do they call my Billy bats? What are like my thumbtack bats? It's a plastic bat with thumbtacks on it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, those are really nice. I'm proud of those. They usually come out in one nice good strip. So yeah.
Hell yeah. I was about to say nothing beats good old just anything on the bat. I made and you'll learn later why, Billy. We made the soup can bat.
Ooh,
And I brought that up to good old We Love, and good old Tommy Trainwreck got a good whooping with it. And it was
incredible.
work of art. I love when you can just put anything on a bat. Like I've seen the freaking your tack bats, your gusset bats, carpet strip bats, broken glass bats, scissor bats. Everyone just gets creative with the bats.
I've done a Lego bat. What else? Yeah, that's what about them. It wouldn't be very effective, but I've always had the dumb idea of doing a bat. Just put like bats on the top of the bat. But,
Yes, that would be so cool. Or just do like little wooden bats taped around.
yeah, just
That would be
just a
cool.
gag weapon more or less. But just yeah,
Oh, I'm all about the gag weapons here.
no, yeah,
I brought a soap dispenser filled with lemon juice for the haha. I told everyone what was in it. I was just like, this is just for the
amazing.
haha. Because like you just see a lemon and you're like, eh, but you see a bottle of what would look like soap and you're like, oh, what? And then you just start squirting the bottle all over them. And then you just get wondering.
Yeah,
But also we got, what was it?
no, that's just a great visual. I really like anything that's just a little different, right? But yeah, no, it's great.
Absolutely. We also have this question here, Billy. What is the scariest deathmatch weapon?
If I had to pick one, I'd say T8 light tubes.
Oh, 100%.
Just for anyone who doesn't know, you mainly with your fluorescent light bulbs, you got your T12s, which are 1.5 inches in diameter, and then you have T8s, which are an inch in diameter, so they're a little narrower. But just in terms of the way they break, your T12s will like pop, explode into a million pieces, but T8s will kind of just break in half, and then you got two kind of giant skewers, if you will.
Yeah. Oh,
So
100%.
those are, yeah, we use those infrequently and kind of specifically, but those ones scare me a little bit just because of the possibilities if you don't use them right. I guess I try to, there's something to land maybe, on top of, but not something to go through.
100%. I was gonna say, does Canada only what's the Canada tube? Do you guys have both or?
Yeah, T8s are a lot more common. It's what I do, so I had to look into it and see why. But turns out that I guess T8s are better at starting up in cold weather. So you usually get T8s in places where it's a lot colder, or at least colder in certain parts of the year. So that's really, I think, the major difference. But I use mainly T12s. I can still find them. There's places to get them. So yeah,
Well, that's good. I was gonna
that's what I
say
got.
because I
That's what I got
know.
behind me here. Yeah, those are all
Oh
T12s.
hell yeah, hell yeah! I was gonna say because I know UK, Australia, and Japan is all T8 exclusive. Like they can't get T12s over there for nothing.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not quite sure, and I know with Europe, there's certain anything with mercury in it, they're stopping production after a certain point, and
Yeah,
there's, deathmatch is going to have to change away from the tubes eventually. They'll become rarer and rarer as time goes on, but for now, hey,
we're good.
yeah, for now, and especially you get a lot of businesses who are changing out, so you'll get giant halls of an entire warehouse or whatever if you get really lucky. So we're good for a little while at least.
Oh yeah. And we also have this one, another fan submitted question: the most gnarliest weapon you remember creating.
I think you mentioned it before, but like gusset bats are really nasty. Gusset bats, or actually, you know what? No, scratch that. The razor bat I made for hardcore and cash.
Oh
Uh, yeah,
yeah.
the razor bat. That was absolutely it. Yeah, it was a plastic bat with good chunk of foam on it and probably 15, 20, like just razor blades, just chuck. Yeah, looked like
That
he had
match.
hardcore. Looked like he had fish gills after. It was ridiculous.
Oh yeah, that match alone, I was gonna say, oh, nuts.
They announced that, and then I heard about it in one of the promos. I was like, okay, guys, guess I'm gonna have to get razor blades.
We also have this one too here, Billy. What's the weirdest object someone has seriously suggested as a weapon?
I mean, I won't, as long as it's like legal for me to purchase. I really don't care. I wouldn't turn anything down if that, like, it was, especially if it's requested from a wrestler. But I guess the two that the weirdest ones, or the would be Maria Belmont had me make a thumbtack covered ball gag for her. And for Izzy James and Christian Starr, I also made a thumbtack covered dildo. So that was there.
I've also made one of those in my fair time of weapon building.
Yeah, it's yeah. Of course you're going to do that. And then other than that, I would just say Tyler Arrow asked me to get him a body bag one time. So
Oh my god!
so
What a request!
you can buy them on Amazon.
Oh damn!
You just corpse bag, they're leak proof. It makes sure to let you know. But yeah, so you can get body bags on Amazon if you need them. But speaking of that, I'm definitely on the list somewhere.
Me and you both, because
yeah,
god damn, that is crazy. It's like it's sitting there dry ice. It's like you walk into a grocery store and you just see that all there, and you're just like, oh god. Especially if you've seen, has Canada done a dry ice death match yet?
haven't done dry ice. No, I mean, I guess it's probably something we can do. The only thing we can't do is poppers, like those explodey things.
Really?
They're illegal here for some reason. Those little guys. Not yeah. So as much as I would love to, and as much as I love the spot, we just
that is something I didn't think I would get to learn until today. That's freaking crazy.
Yeah, there's basically, at least in Ontario, like the province of Canada that we're in, basically if it doesn't make anything that just sort of explodes isn't allowed to be sold here. So just like cherry bombs, little firecrackers, anything that just kind of explodes. Yeah, we can't get them.
So all Canada has, or at least your area, all you have is like smoke bombs.
I'm not even sure about that, but I'm just, like actual fireworks, like Roman
Yeah.
candles and that. You can get that kind of stuff, but nothing that just kind of blows up.
Okay.
Hey,
That is that the more you know. I did not know that. That's crazy.
yeah, I mean, hey, maybe I'll come across them someday, or look into the bylaws in a little bit more detail and be like, well, if I have them, what is it the procurement of them, or is it using, where's the law?
Yeah.
What am I not allowed to do with them?
Absolutely. No, I totally get that. Well, Billy, I'm gonna sheer away from the weaponry questions for a little bit because we have the usual here on the podcast. We like to talk about food. So I gotta know, Billy, what is your favorite kind of sandwich?
Oh, sandwich. You know what? Club sandwich. Just go to any restaurant. It's usually, there's a little bit of variety there, but club sandwich with the piece of bread in the middle. Yeah, if I had to pick one, I love a sandwich, but if I had to pick one, club sandwich.
Hell yeah. And then we also have this one. This one's one of my favorite questions asked the talent. What's your favorite on the road snack and beverage combo? What are some of your on the road necessities that you always got on you?
In terms of food, pretty much always drinking coffee. That's what I've been drinking here. Coffee and trail mix, I would say.
Oh hell, that sounds like a very Billy the Deathmatch janitor diet. I love that.
Yeah, coffee and trail mix, and trail mix with no chocolate or anything in it. Just
Real okay.
yeah, what I call bird food. Just something you can do.
I love that. Perfect on the go. That is perfect. We also have this one here, Billy. If you didn't know, my shoot job is in the pizza industry, so I got to ask every talent, what is your perfect pizza?
It's difficult to say. I mean, I'm not overly picky about it. Huh. I guess just a homemade pizza, anything. Just we'll just say pepperoni, bacon, homemade. Like homemade pizza. I like to make bread, and I can make pizza dough and stuff. So yeah, and homemade, but yeah, just pepperoni, bacon, nothing crazy.
Hell yeah. Wait, you like to bake? Billy
Yeah,
the
man.
Baker. What's your
Yeah,
favorite
well,
thing to bake?
my favorite thing to bake would be my family's from Newfoundland, which is an island on the east coast of Canada.
Hell yeah.
And one of the main things my grandmother there would make is a raisin bread. It's like a molasses and raisin sandwich bread you toast
Yum.
for breakfast. Yeah, that would be my favorite thing to bake. It took me a while, but I nailed her recipe because it's classic grandma recipe where it was just handful of this, and then you put this in until it feels this, and so had to turn that into like actual measurements and stuff. So it took me a little while, but I got there.
Well, hell yeah. Well, we also got this one here, Billy. And speaking of breakfast, Billy the Deathmatch Shader, what is your perfect breakfast sandwich?
Perfect breakfast sandwich. I mean, I wouldn't go anything beyond the pretty standard, but usually an English muffin, an egg that's a little runny, sausage maybe, and a little bit of cheese. But that's like one.
Yum.
That's one of the places where like you actually can get away with. I think you guys call it American cheese. That like plasticky fake
Oh,
stuff. That
yes.
it doesn't have too many uses, but that's absolutely one.
It's literally that and the grilled cheese. And after that, you're either putting it on crackers or eating it out of the bags alone, like Homer Simpson. Well, we also have this question here, Billy. Jeff the cat, just in case you couldn't see him,
Hey,
he is
buddy.
here. He gets to pick the next question if you didn't know that rule. He wants to know best thing to hit Will Carroll with.
I mean, I've never personally got the fortune of hitting him with anything, but um, I always like when somebody hits him with a light tube. He's always getting in there, and he just it's a good way to just stop someone from talking. He just
Oh,
light
yeah.
tube. Well, you go down. Yeah, I'd say yeah, light tubes.
Yeah, and it's Will Carroll, so yeah, that's all I can say about that one.
Yeah.
I have this one here too, Billy. Any dream companies you like to work for and build fuckery for?
I will, build weapons for anyone who asks me. But I mean, in a dream scenario, I think I'd probably like to get over to the UK, do some stuff there. I know the companies are kind of changing out there, but I've got some friends I've made out there, and I think I love what their scene is doing. I love how creative they get. So if I could work out, anywhere, maybe like, when TNT does some of their extreme shows or something like that, if I had to pick one, that would probably be it. I mean, I'd love to go down to the States, but in sort of a perfect world, anywhere, yeah, definitely, UK area.
Hell yeah. And I also gotta know, I don't remember. I'm sick. This Durban poison, my friend. I got this today, and it's got me all over the place. Did we talk about how you first entered the Canadian deathmatch scene? How did Billy the Deathmatch janitor come to be?
I don't think I may have touched on it briefly, but I guess in general, it was, um, the three guys, Sean, Dylan, and Maddie started Canadian Deathmatch, did the whole thing run up to the Crazy Eight. It was probably a few months before that, I reached out just to the Instagram, let them know if they needed a hand. I was down to help, even just, sweep glass out of the ring or whatever. And then, I ended up, I'm good with Facebook Marketplace. I'm good at finding stuff. So I just kind of started sending them stuff, both lots of light tubes or doors or whatever it is. And from there, they kind of just kept, I just kept making stuff. I kept bringing it to I kept letting them know. And then from there, we, did the Crazy Eight March 1st last year. Billy wasn't on that show. I was there, but I didn't have the coveralls yet. It was just in my street clothes doing that. So after that show, it just honestly, I just wanted to create a character. I reached out to Sean and was just like, I'm a lifelong wrestling fan. I want to be a part of sort of the overall Canadian deathmatch world. It's fun to have other characters that exist that can be interacted with or whatever.
Oh yeah, like a
it's,
mittens.
yeah, exactly. Or it's a weird word to say, but kind of like NPC in like an RPG.
Yeah.
Right? If you choose to interact with me, there's dialogue options, there's things we can do, but you don't have to play that way. But
I love how you stated that because that's how I feel. I'm like, when I'm at a wrestling show, it's a goddamn video game, and I am the most random NPC here.
Yeah, and it's just like you can choose to. I'm not essential. You don't have, but and certain guys love doing it. We've guys had playing spots where I'll keep a gusset plate in my tool belt, and they'll ask for it, and I'll have to oh, here you go, and, something like that. So it's a lot of fun. But yeah, really, honestly, I just asked and really kind of just hit the ground running. Like I said, I'm familiar with deathmatch and what weapons actually will get used, rather than stuff that like anybody can come up with stuff that's extremely dangerous, but there's that nice fine line of so I guess just from there just kind of kept helping out and rolled into it and found the coveralls at a thrift store, and there we go.
Hell yeah. And I also gotta know, you talk about the safety of deathmatch. Billy, have you ever turned down any weapons or any of your deathmatch no-nos, as I guess I would regularly say, for the weaponry?
Someone would have to really convince me to do fire, anything with fire. In my personal opinion, it's too dangerous to be worth it.
That's also one of the big yeses or nos with a venue. If you see a company doing a fire spot, either the venue's that good or they didn't tell them.
Yeah, and obviously we're not going to be in a position to you know piss off a venue or anything like that. Obviously, got to respect their rules. But
Oh, 100%.
yeah, it's one of those things where there's a couple of situations where I think it might be a little more, like a little safer. I've seen guys who will put a little bit of fluid on it, like a single light tube, and smash that, and it's pretty neat. But just all in all, I think fire is the risk reward ratio is just not there. It's just
Oh yeah.
it looks nice, but there's so many things that can go wrong, and burns aren't like cuts. Burns are that yeah.
Yeah, oh, at the last show I went to, they did a fire spot, and oh my goodness, they were freaking pawing them out because they did not have the rags or the water. But I mean, it still went somewhat clean.
Yeah, to me that's bare minimum, right? If you're gonna do treat it like any fire safety. If there's gonna be fire, have a bucket of
Have
rags or
everything.
damp rags, a fire extinguisher,
Absolutely.
things like that. But I guess teach their own. But yeah, not going to be
Oh,
something I plan. Someone have to convince me to do it.
absolutely. We also have this one here, Billy. What was the roughest spot you've ever witnessed live?
Oh, easy. That's Brandon St. James and Tyler Arrow. When Tyler
I was
Arrow,
waiting for that. Yeah.
I was holding the scaffolding. Like myself and Dylan are there holding the scaffolding. If you watch the live stream or not the the stream on IWTV, you'll see like there's an edit of my live facial reaction when it happened. But yeah, that was terrifying because I guess with this you kind of people have two different pain noises. There's the standard sort of selling, regular one you hear that's
And
not a big
there's the
issue.
real
And there's
one.
a couple times where a guy makes a noise and you're like, oh shit, that's a real, strain. So yeah, that one easily. I mean, that spot was terrifying to begin with, but yeah, that one, yeah, especially because of my proximity to it. Like I saw it
Oh,
from,
yeah.
going down. So yeah, 100%.
Craziness. And what good beings to Tyler Arrow. He's doing very good for his recovery right now.
Yeah, I keep in touch with him. What is it? Yeah, right there, little thumb cheese grater crutch there. That's his next time he's on one of our shows. That's one of his classic weapons we like to make. But yeah, he's doing fantastic. Really happy to see him staying positive in his recovery, and excited to work with him whenever he's back.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see what holds the future for him when he comes back.
Oh yeah, no, he's
And you talk about signature weapon, Billy. If you were to have a signature weapon, what would it be?
My Billy bats. Yeah, those thumbtack bats. A lot of guys will, do the double-sided tape or duct tape and stuff like that, but I actually, will glue them onto it, and then they're in long rows. So it was Tyler Arrow who took the first one in the Crazy Eight, and it gave him just a straight, thumbtack mohawk. And ever since then, it's without fail the weapon that I have on every show. I love the way they look. It's visually, and it's a fun weapon because they're plastic bats, so you can really swing it. You can really get that sort of plastic smack. And yeah, I like those a lot.
Hell yeah, 100%. Well, we're getting to the end of the weaponry questions here, Billy. I gotta know the biggest mess you had to clean up.
That would have probably been. I mean, the first Crazy Eight was a lot of glass, but we had that light tube prison with Joe Dredd and Matt Cash. That one was, I think we had at least 40 tubes, lining on the ropes, and then more bundles and stuff on top of that. That one was really bad. Or anytime you use a pane of glass, because those things just explode absolutely everywhere. But yeah, in terms of a single match that took me the longest to clean up, yeah, it would be that light tube prison, we called it. But yeah, it's sort of where you line the whole ring with the tubes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we also have this one here, Billy. What are his top 3 creations? That one's a fan submitted question.
My top 3 creations, in terms of things that I think I've done a little differently, or things that one of these are my favorites here. I like this. It's what I call the Canadian Kenzon. It's thumbtacks on a hockey
On
puck.
a hockey puck. Oh my goodness.
So I really enjoy that one. That one was a little different. Well, let me see here. Also did these. These are on most of our shows. Again, theme here. I like to glue thumbtacks to things, but yes, this thumbtack hockey glove.
Hell yeah.
Oh, another one of my favorites. And another thing that I like to do is the Nerf darts. I mean, attacks are my favorite thing to work with. I think there's a lot of fun things to do, but I figured out a new and improved method for making Nerf tack darts. It was actually Hardcore and I were trading some ideas back and figured some stuff out. So I'm really proud of what I call my version 2 tack darts. They utilize the plastic tacks instead of the metal ones, the ones with sort of the longer end. Let me see that one here. Yeah. So if you can just you pull the tip out and you can just pop them in. So yeah, and it doesn't affect the weight of the bullet or anything at all. So yeah, those are a lot of fun.
Hell yeah. Well, Billy, we're down to 5 questions. I gotta know, any cool interests outside of weaponry building for pro wrestling?
I mean, in terms of my role, I've got some, lower back issues. I couldn't actually work. I can't wrestle. Like that's not something I physically would be able to do. But honestly, I'm really enjoying being on the back end of things, seeing how the overall sort of thing works. I like working with Sean, but I think that if I had anything, it would be getting more involved with some of the more backstage stuff in terms of, reaching out to venues or booking talent or anything like that, but learning a little bit more about the booking promoter side of it, I think would be really interesting. Not that I'm looking to do anything on my own, but I just think that that's such an interesting part of the business, and it'd be cool to learn.
Hell yeah. I was gonna say, do you have any interests outside of pro wrestling?
I mean, yeah, I got plenty of interests. Big one is I'm a big heavy metal fan, music, things like that. Music is a huge part of my life. Horror movies, love, really gory, extreme violent horror movies, things like that. That's another big one for me. But those are two in terms of that. Lots of TV and movies and stuff. Currently playing Fallout 3 again, so that's lots of fun. And I'm sure there's lots of other stuff, but yeah, just the usual. But if I had one major passion outside of it, I'd probably say that music is the number one thing that I spend a lot of time looking into, and obviously listening to and all that.
Hell yeah. Do you play instruments?
I mean, I technically play bass. I wouldn't say I'm very good or practice as much as I would like to, but I also do some, I guess, call it noise. This whole genre of music where I've got a bunch of pedals and weird music gear, then just kind of make screeching sounds and lots of weird interludes and stuff.
Hell yeah.
Working with my buddy Maya, who has a band in California, Expunge, done a bit of their album art and stuff like that. But I've had some of my little interludes and stuff on the album and things like that. So that's a lot of fun. Nothing with like rhythm per se, but just sort of chaotic sound bites and soundscapes and kind of things like that.
Well, hell yeah. Well, Billy, you talk about music. I gotta ask the music question. If you could book your dream concert lineup, 3 to 4 bands or artists, what would the lineup be?
If I absolutely had to, it'd probably be some sort of like longer prog rock festival or something like that. Lots of metal bands, but it'd be hard to kind of pick one. But if I had to, headliner obviously would be Frank Zappa. Frank Zappa is like my all-time favorite musician. Be Frank Zappa, but like his band from like 73, 74, roughly. So that specific band would be the headliner. Underneath that, probably some more deep cut prog rock stuff. I'd probably have the Mars Volta would be on there for sure. Probably have like early period Yes would be on there. Trying to think. We'll throw the Ramones on there just because they're like a love of mine. And I'm trying to think who would be another one. I've been super into Gentle Giant lately, so the Gentle Giant can be on there as well.
Hell yeah. And then we also have this one, Billy. I always ask the movie question too. Your top 5 favorite horror movies.
Ooh, top 5 favorite horror movies. It's if I had to pick favorites, would be the first Evil Dead for sure. Would be Brain Dead or Dead Alive, the Peter Jackson movie. What else would be in there? Probably the first Saw movie would be in there for sure. You put like the whole Guinea Pig franchise, the sort of Japanese whole like gore horror movie franchise. Those are lots of fun. As a collective, they make like one good movie. So I definitely put them in there. And then if I had to pick a third one, probably the second Hotel Inferno. That one's real good.
Hell yeah. Those are all very solid picks. I've not seen the Guinea Pig series, but that sounds very intriguing. So I'll
Yeah,
take your word for it.
it's pretty brutal.
I like the sound of it. Well, Billy, second to last question. I gotta know, any advice for rookie weapons builders?
The talent will do things they're not trust the talent when they say they're I guess they're hard limits. Don't put anyone in a situation where they're doing something where they're uncomfortable with. So ask first before you build anything. Don't be putting stuff in the ring that they won't be comfortable with.
100%. Anything else on top of that one?
For me, I think the biggest approach is communicate with the talent directly. That's my big thing. I like to have at least some people just kind of like to show up on the day, say this, that's this, and this. But if possible, I'll work with the talent. I like to kind of know what people are getting into, keep in touch with them. But yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is just, no surprises for the talent and keep everyone's hard limits in mind.
Well, hell yeah. Well, Billy, we're down to the last question, the final question. The whole reason we have this podcast, Billy, the deathmatch community has to know, Billy the Deathmatch Janitor, what is your favorite kind of soup?
Easy one for me. Every year after we cook, my mom cooks turkey dinner. She takes sort of the leftover turkey, the bones and things like that, and makes a turkey soup. That is by far. I just had it not too long ago because of the Christmas dinner. But yeah, it's makes the broth with the remainder of the meat and the bones. There's usually carrots, turnip, parsnip, celery, onion. Yeah, and it's just sort of the Christmas dinner with the veggies, but like a soup. And it's fantastic. And it's if there's one soup I crave, that is the easy go-to.
That sounds absolutely heavenly. Well, Billy, we talked the soup. Now I put you on the spotlight. Plug your social medias. Where can the good people see you next? Where can people possibly book Billy the Deathmatch Janitor if they need a weapon master? And all that good stuff.
Well, yeah, I'm on Instagram, really, Billy the Deathmatch Janitor. You can also obviously take a look at Canadian Deathmatch on Instagram. We're on Facebook, YouTube as well. We got some free matches up on YouTube, so make sure to hit those up. We've got the next events that I'm going to be working are going to be this upcoming January 25th is going to be New Noise Volume 3 in Toronto. So going to be a really exciting one. We get to work with Tara Zepp. She's going to be on the show. She's been out for a while. Really excited to get to work with her. And then all of, the usual people you've come to expect. After that, hoping to work with Hybrid Championship Wrestling on the 31st. They've got a main event with Wade Allen and that Kyle. That's going to be pretty interesting. So I might be helping out there. And then we've got the Crazy 8 too. April 11th at the Germania Club. 8-person deathmatch tournament. Everyone's favorite. That is going to be fantastic. So yeah, tickets are on sale for all of those. Go to the Instagram, go to Facebook, and yeah, get tickets. Toronto's selling out quick, and I'm sure that the Crazy 8 will too.
Well, hell yeah. Then right before we send it off, anything you want to tell the fans out there?
Not much. Obviously just wanted to thank you for having me on the podcast. Really, honored to hear that, I had so many questions and that, so many people wanted me here. So it's a pleasure to be here. And if I had to sign off with one thing, it would just be deathmatch fucking rules, man.
Well, hell yeah. And Billy, it was an absolute honor finally getting to talk to you on here. And I'm going to send it off how I always do it. For Billy the Deathmatch Janitor, I'm Dewey the Hot Dog. Deathmatch United, soups, death matches, and all good things in between. And I'll catch you on the next one.